will be provided to Planning Commission and added to the record, but will not be read during the live meeting. Any public input received after 4 p.m. the day of the meeting will be included in the record, but may not reach commission members before the action is taken. Is there any public input? Nobody on Zoom? Okay. Approval of the agenda. Can we get a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
I make a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Okay, I have an approval. Can I get a second?
I second.
All right, I have an approval and a second. May we please vote?
My Zoom's not coming up to vote online, but I do approve.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that item passes 7-0. Next, approval of the minutes. Can we get a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting? Commissioner Flores?
I move to approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
I have a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Commissioner Garvin?
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Can we please vote?
My vote's for approval.
That passes 7-0. Item 2.1, TSM 20004, tentative subdivision map amendment to condition of approval consideration of the possible action of an amendment to the conditions of approval for the Fernwood Village tentative subdivision map, TSM 20004, a 54-lot subdivision comprising of plus or minus 7.08 acres, generally located between Inglewood Drive to the north, Granada Street to the east, Tanglewood Drive to the south, and Vine Street to the west. APN 020-51606. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Planning Commissioners. My name is Elisa Johansson, Senior Planner for the record. As mentioned, I'm here to discuss Agenda Item 2.1, an amendment to the conditions of approval for tentative subdivision map 20004, also known as Fernwood Village. My clicker is not working. Thank you. There we go. All right. The 7.08 acre project is located, as mentioned, between Eaglewood Drive to the north, Granada Street to the east, Tanglewood Drive to the south, and Vine Street to the west. The project is surrounded by single-family residential zoning to the north, medium-density residential zoning to the south, multiple-family residential zoning to the east, and medium-density residential zoning to the west. The site itself is zoned medium-density residential as well. Here is a vicinity map so that you can visually orient yourselves to the site. Here is the preliminary site plan that we approved under the tentative subdivision map process. The subdivision comprises 54 lots. And here is the condition that we're here to discuss tonight. I want to draw your attention to the last sentence, which states that no extensions may be granted. The problem here is that Nevada Revised Statutes 278361C does allow extensions of time of up to 2 years by Planning Commission action. The city's condition erroneously states that no extension shall be granted. We seek to correct this by amending the condition to bring our conditions into conformance with the Nevada Revised Statutes. Amendments to the conditions of approval shall be processed in the same manner as the application for division of land. So that means I'm here tonight to request your recommendation to City Council. If approved, this amendment would allow us to process the extension of time request that has been submitted by the developer. And that brings us to our recommended motion language. At this time, we do not recommend any alternatives. We would recommend that you recommend to approve this action. Considering the information provided by city staff, I move to recommend approval of the amendment of the conditions of approval for TSM 20004, known as Fernwood Village. And that brings me to the end of my presentation. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. I do not have any questions on this. Anybody have any questions on this? Yes, sir, Mr. Flores.
Just this idea of because you're saying the state statute is broader than the cities and where they come in compliance. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Now, I thought the whole purpose of incorporating a city was to kind of insulate yourself from state statutes, or is it a case where the state will let you do certain things as a city, incorporate city, but the state still has a major control of some items, basically some critical items. Am I right about that? Because that's unusual to me. I got surprised in another state that they were able to undo a whole bunch of zoning regulations for a community by state statute locally. So it was just very surprising to me.
So conceptually, yes, that is correct. The state statutes govern the actions that local jurisdictions may take. And in many states, that typically plays out, particularly with respect to land segregation. So in Nevada, the planning chapters of the Nevada Revised Statutes are essentially the law of the land. We may impose our own conditions on land segregation. We may also provide for our own unique processes, but really we use the state's law as a model. And in this case, our conditions are in conflict with the state statutes. And so we really do need to amend them to allow the developer to submit their extension of time request, which is something that is provided for by state law.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
I have a question. I have a question real quick.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the length of time of the extension request?
The extension request is for 2 additional years, which is the maximum extension allowable by state law.
Okay, and so when does the developer think that they're going to get started prior to that?
That is not something that we are aware of at this time. As we understand it, the applicant has had difficulty vacating a drain line easement that is owned by TCID. They do have improvements in review with our engineering department. And so they're steadily working towards making the improvements that are required for their final map recordation. But this drain line easement vacation process has held them up. We are expecting that they would be able to record their final map, which would mean all the improvements and landscaping are in place, no later than May 19th, 2025, which would be the, May 19th, 2027, which would be the initial 4 years that were allotted plus the 2-year extension.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
No problem.
Okay. Any further questions? Be it none. Can we go ahead and get a motion on this item? Okay. Commissioner Garvin?
I move to recommend approval of the amendment to the conditions of approval for TSM 20004, removing the restriction on extensions as presented by staff.
Okay, I have a motion. Can I get a second? Commissioner Flores. All right, I have a motion and a second. Can we please vote?
I'll vote for approval in the process.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I said I
Commissioner-
vote for the approval of the extension.
Thank you.
It's not coming up on my computer, so I'll just verbalize my vote.
Okay, thank you. All right, and that item passes 7-0. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Item number 3, chair and commission items. Summary or activity reports on planning issues, activity or organizations in which individual members can be involved. Do we have any planning and chair commission items? Yeah, is that for you guys? Anything up here? No? Be it none? Planning director, any planning director items?
Just an update on the city council actions. On May 21st, city council item, we had no planning related issues, so there's nothing to report on that date. June 4th, the Southwest Area Plan was continued to the next meeting, which is the 18th, next week, because we had a issue with some of the notifications that we did on our end. So we have to renotice all of it. So it should be going next week. Other than the second one, general planning department updates and announcements, I don't really have anything new.
Okay, thank you. Item number 5, address requests for future agenda items. Yes, sir?
I was wondering, I remember that someone said that some BLM land is going to be handed over to Fernley. And I was wondering, I don't know the exact process. Once it's handed to Fernley, is it bid out? What is the process once that land is available to Fernley? Maybe we could have a small presentation of what happens to that land once Fernley has a position, who can access it, who can purchase it, who can, touch it, basically. I'd like to know because I'm not familiar with that process, unless all the commissioners are, but I'm not. So I would like to put a request to just explain that, maybe in a small segment in the future. And that's
All
all.
right, we can do that. Lydia can spearhead that. She's been working on it most of the time.
Okay, so could we add that on the agenda for next time?
Yep, we sure can.
Okay, that's what I want. Thank you very much.
Okay. Item number 6, public forum. This is the portion of the meeting devoted to the public. If you wish to comment, you can do so in person at the meeting or use the raise your hand feature in Zoom. *9 if you're participating via phone. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes. Please avoid repetition. Is there any public input? Anyone on Zoom? Nope. Okay, next meeting will be July 9th.